Hey there, welcome to day 43 of our Get Your Goals annual challenge. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, and today we want to talk about how do you get the opportunity to experience the emotions you want more often and the ones you don't want less often. Well, there's a tool I learned from an author by the name of Lynn Grabhorn, who's since left Earth now. She's not alive anymore, but she wrote a book called Excuse Me, Your Life is Waiting. And there's a companion workbook that goes along with that. And following my sudden cardiac arrest, a coach and mentor of mine by the name of Jim Edwards, he's an internet marketing guy, copywriter. If you've not heard of him, I highly recommend him. But he recommended that I do the workbook Excuse Me, Your Life is Waiting by Lynn Grabhorn. And since I'd read the book and liked the book, but wasn't aware there was a workbook, I was excited to find out that there was one. It's from the 1990s, and it's, in the self-help personal development genre. And I got that workbook, and I committed to myself that I would do the entire workbook. I would go through each of the exercises, and I wouldn't move on in the book until I completed an exercise. And there were a couple of them in there that, for me personally, were really, really difficult to do. But one of the best tools I learned from that book, and I've applied in other areas and aspects of my life, is something called the flip switch. And it's the same as just thinking about flipping a switch in our house. Since we've got all these modern, amazing inventions called electricity and switches in our house, we all can visualize and imagine flipping a switch of the light on and off. I think of the light off, darkness, as the negative emotions I don't want to feel, and the light on as light and bright and the emotions I do want to feel. So we can look at the emotions that we're experiencing, and as we're experiencing them, we as human beings actually have the ability to flip the switch on and off. I don't know very many people that can't physically flip the switch on and off. My just turned 2-year-old granddaughter's been able to do it by climbing up on a bench for almost a year now. And so if we're feeling sad, for example, we can flip the switch to happy. If we're feeling angry, we can flip it to patient. If we're feeling frustrated, we can flip it to curious, grateful. That's one I've worked on with the SOAP framework just this last week. If we're feeling irritation, we can think of things that we're excited and delighted about. If we're feeling doubtful, we can find ways to feel more confident and sure. If we're feeling worried, we can find ways to think about how we've been worried in the past and the thing we worried about never really happened. If we're feeling afraid, we can remind ourselves of times in the past when we've been afraid of something, and again, it was a false expectation that appeared real, but it never really came to fruition. It never really happened. We were just afraid something might happen. And so the magic in getting and feeling more of what we want is by focusing and spending our time and energy in the feelings that we want. So the more time we spend happy, the more happy we'll feel. The more time we spend in a positive emotional framework or mindset, the more positive we'll feel. And the absolute reverse is true as well. If we're focusing on negative, if we're focusing on things that we don't like, if we're focusing on things that we don't want, we keep creating and attracting more of those into our life. So what do we want to do? We want to focus on the things we don't want. And we're going to use a tool. It's really a visualization tool to flip that switch. Because as soon as I flip that switch in my mind, I let go of the negative and I automatically open up at least to neutral or the possibility of the positive things coming into my awareness. So what's our action item today? We are simply going to pay attention to how we're feeling today. Now, I'm kind of on top of the world and excited today because I just had a brand new granddaughter this morning. But if we're not feeling elated, if we're not feeling excited as we go about our day, and I don't know about you, but throughout a day, I feel a whole range of emotions, both positive and negative. So I want to catch myself when I'm feeling a negative emotion, and then want to, in my mind, flip that switch to a more positive thing, something that feels better. Remember the emotional guidance system? We're always just reaching for a slightly better feeling, and it might not seem like it's a better feeling, but it actually is less, it's higher up on the vibrational scale, so it makes us feel better, and that's what we always want to be doing. Again, the trick is to pay attention to how does it make you feel. If feeling something makes you feel better, then it's moving you in the right direction. If it makes you feel worse or heavier or lower or more negative, then it's moving you in the opposite direction that you want to go. Any questions? Hit me up. Otherwise, I will be with you tomorrow. Have an amazing day.